Thank you for engaging with me in the conversation again, and welcome back to the channel. This is African Pharma Voices. We have conversations about the dynamics in the industry, both pharma, healthcare generally, but most importantly, how do we harness the potential of the talent that we have in the continent to drive growth of the pharmaceutical profession, the pharmacy profession, and the pharmaceutical industry at large. I would look at it from the point that I'm relatively young in my career, but as young as I am, I've also had substantial level of experience and exposure and ability to challenge myself to reimagine a better future. And this better future that I try to imagine and try to work towards creating is guided by the fact that unless we put in the right investments where it needs to happen, we will not achieve the ultimate success and the hopes that we have as a people, as a country, and as a continent in delivering healthcare products and technologies that people need to achieve their healthcare benefits and the healthcare quality of life that they would aspire for. I would say that. And the essence of this conversation is when I finished my undergraduate education, I graduated in 2019, the statement that kept coming is the future of pharmacy, the future of the industry relies on you as young professionals. And I believed in that, and I still do believe in it, that as young professionals, we have the opportunity to shape a new future, and we need to ask ourselves, what does that future look like? Ultimately, subsequent to the initial conversation, when I got out into the industry practicing and everything, the challenge that I kept contending with is, yes, we are young people, we need to shape the future, we need to work towards creating that future that we aspire for, that we hope for, but we never had a platform. In the Kenyan context, we came up and actually conceptualized and fully operationalized the Young Pharmacists Group within the Pharmaceutical Society of Kenya, and that was a key achievement, and I would say we made a progress, and therefore there's now a house that hosts people. People can brainstorm, can challenge each other, can have conversations that are robust, are solid, that are grounded on evidence of what needs to happen, but also are reflective of the realities of these young professionals that we believe are the future of our profession, and that is what I'm hoping for. But beyond that, then the question is, we have a house. How do we work in that house? How do we shape things to make them move towards the future? And I would say the leadership that has come subsequently and all that, they've done their level best, but there's still room for improvements. And I believe the next generation of leaders will do the best that needs to be done. But the reason as why I'm having this conversation today is because when I came back from my studies in the UK, that was in September, the first engagement that I had subsequent to that was the Young Pharmacists Group conference. And this is a conference that took 3 days within the United States International University, USIU Africa. And in that conversation, in that conference, I remember participating in a panel, having side conversation with individuals, mostly getting to know what's happening, how are you doing your stuff, and what are the hopes and aspirations of these people. I would say 3 things came out clear for me. Number 1, there's ambition, and that ambition is grounded on desire to make things work, but also desire to actualize and individually achieve their own professional goals and professional ambitions, which is amazing because with ambition, we're able to harness our potential. With ambition, we're able to channel our passion and our skill set and our technical capabilities to deliver value, and delivering value in the sense that we offer a service or a product that somebody sees value in, and therefore we're able to harness the returns from that investment and that value. That ambition is something that was infectious among the 120 plus people that I saw in that engagement within the 3 days. There was ambition, and that ambition needs not die off, because that links me to the next thing. There was hope, and everybody's looking at what happens next. From conversation, everybody was asking, okay, what skills do I need to do X, Y, Z? What kind of platforms exist for me to be able to channel my ambition, but also most importantly, to utilize my skills to make a difference? The hope that the future is going to be better, but there's a chance that we have to create that future. The question is, who guides us to that vision, and how do we get to it? And the last thing that I saw, and that is why I'm doing this video most importantly, is there is a lot of confusion. And the confusion is, we have a house, we aspire for a future, but the question is, how do we get it done? The why is clear, the what and the how is a challenge. And that is where this video is coming in, because I feel as young professionals, as young industry leaders, the future industry leaders, whatever it's going to be, we have to actively do something. But most importantly, we have to hold each other and hold our leaders accountable to guide us on this path. What do I mean by this? 1, for us to channel the ambition, the hope, and the confusion, we need robust, sober leadership. And the leadership should be about envisioning what that future should look like, and develop a blueprint on the steps that we need to take towards that future. Because unless we have a consistent and clear vision, we will never be able to do anything to shape that future. And if we can't do it, we are losing the war. We are losing the battle. And ultimately, the unfortunate thing is that in pharmacy, I'm looking at the best brains in the country, and these best brains are being wasted at one point or the other because nobody's guiding them, nobody's shaping a future, nobody's offering a platform to make that a reality. We have to reimagine the future of our profession. We need to reimagine the future of the industry. And most importantly, we need to engage these young industrials, talent and professionals that are going to shape that future. And that leadership has to be clear on what needs to happen. And if I look at that, I look at it from the Young Pharmacists Group. I know there will be subsequent election for the people who will be coming in. I wish you all the best, and I'm urging more young pharmacists to run for office and take up leadership. On the other side, the leadership at the society level, we have a new office in place. We need to support that leadership, but we have to work with them to shape what we aspire for as professionals within the industry. Very critical and very paramount for us. Number 2, capacity building. For all of us, and I'd say this because I've had an interest and I've been working around the pharmaceutical education, pharmacy capacity building, training programs and all that. And some of the work that I'm doing with African Pharmaceutical Network under the Pharmacy Academy is guided on the same principle. You will only be able to exert yourself, to apply yourself with the skills that you do have. And the unfortunate thing is that there's a substantial skills gap in the sense that you have the foundational baseline, but this foundational baseline has to be channeled into different particles and different pathways rather. And those pathways will be dependent on what opportunities do we have in the market? What gaps do we have in the industry? How do we link you with the right skills to unlock value for you to practice into a particular sector? And that has to link to the previous point that I talked about, leadership. What do we envision for the industry? When we know what we envision for the industry, and I look at it from conversations that I've had with some industry leaders, they're saying, okay, we have regulatory affairs professionals, but we have people who are coming in, for example, who are only conveyors. They move documents from point A to point B. None of them do the technical writing. And if they're not doing the technical writing, what happens to me as a local manufacturer? I need the dossier to be written, but I can't get somebody who has the competence and the capability to do it locally. So what happens is I outsource that service to a third party. And that third party oftentimes is outside the country, which means that money is leaving the country, yet we have talent that can be enabled to be able to do that work. Ultimately creating employment for this person, therefore income at the personal level, at the family level, economic progress. That person with money is a driver to economic catalytism because they can pay their rent, they can buy their food and all that. Economy is thriving. And most importantly, they are meaningfully engaged and we're driving the industry to grow because the subsequent other people who want to invest will say, when I come to Kenya, when I come to this market, there's talent to do what needs to be done. And that is the key piece that what we're trying to do with the Pharmacy Academy. Can we build capacity? And my question, my call to professionals and the leaders in the industry is, let us build this house and make it work for us. And making it work is, let us identify what are the key pathways that we need to get skills. Can we train the young professionals to give them a path to follow? And when we give young professionals a path to follow, they will follow it. We will create opportunities. We will create markets that drive growth, but also drive professional practice in the ecosystem where we want it to be. A very paramount thing that we need to work towards ensuring that we achieve. Subsequently, the last part is entrepreneurship. As much we might train all the over 100, I would say 500 to 1,000 people who graduate on an annual basis, employment is not opening up fast enough for all of them to be absorbed in the industry, which means some of them will have to venture into entrepreneurship. Some of them will need entrepreneur support ecosystems and all that so that they can do something unique that is not the conventional pathways of practice of where they have been. And therefore, there's need for that enterprise support system. And the entrepreneur support is somebody's asking you, I've seen a problem in XYZ, but I don't know how to create a solution behind it. How do you help this person to design a business model? How do you help them to troubleshoot to actually ascertain that they have a problem that is validated? So once we validate a problem, can we help them to develop a business model behind it? Can they develop the business model and actually validate the business model by getting paying clients? Because when they get a problem that is validated, they get a solution that actually is validated and they're paying clients, then that is an economic engine that can help them open a new pathline, a new pathway in their professional practice, but most importantly for the growth of the industry that we aspire for. I would say there is opportunity for us to invest in the enterprise ecosystem support system within the pharmaceutical value chain, from clinical research and development to the last mile patient care, the point of care for the patient who is looking at healthcare products and asking themselves, how do I get the best benefits out of the medicines and the technologies that have been made available to me? For me to make that happen, leadership, number one. Two, capacity building and tunneling people into their areas of interest as much as possible, giving them the additional skills that they want to. The last thing is entrepreneurial enterprise support system for those who want to get into entrepreneurial ventures, hand-holding, investment, financing where that needs to happen. Let us unlock value and let us channel that ambition, hope, and get done with the confusion that we're seeing in the industry so that we have a robust and thriving future for the pharmaceutical industry. Thank you so much, and let's keep the conversation going and see what we can do together to shape a future for us.